Hello, Shoyan here. Today I'm building a pony wall around the kitchen as well as a breakfast bar in front of it. I start by working on the kitchen area. Modern kitchens are often designed to face the dining room, so they are usually positioned in the center of the room. First, I enclose the kitchen with an L-shaped pony wall. I cut and place protective sheets, leaving some space around the installation area. Cutting them neatly isn't easy. Pressing down too hard could scratch the floor. I carefully shape the sheets and get them ready. In modern open kitchens, enclosing walls like this isn't very common. This design was more popular in the past. It features a thin pony wall with a joist or rafter-sized frame, a cap rail on top, and a breakfast bar in front. It's a simple setup, but it creates a slightly different look compared to a standard open kitchen. Since the wall is L-shaped, the space on the side will be a bit narrower due to the thickness of the wall, but that can't be helped. The frame size is 45 mm by 60 mm, which is typically used for joists or rafters. First, I build the L-shaped wall and install the drywall and then put in the breakfast bar. With a 60 mm frame alone, the wall wouldn't be very strong. It requires studs of about 105 mm. But once the breakfast bar is installed, it provides enough reinforcement even with just a 60 mm frame. Now, the frame is mostly done. On the kitchen side, I install the drywall directly on the frame. On the breakfast bar side, I secure furring strips. Without them, there wouldn't be any space for electrical wiring, so I'd have to drill holes for each wire. Even with thin walls, adding furring strips makes wiring easier and increases strength. Next, I work on the cap rail on top of the pony wall. For this size, 3 meters by 1 meter, I'd prefer to get a single 4-meter piece if possible. If it's made from the same timber, the overall look will match nicely at the corner joint. For the external corners, I'm using butt joints instead of miter joints this time. The edge will face the dining room side, so the end won't be visible. I screw the cap rail from the bottom because the screws will be visible if it were secured from the top or sides. I first apply glue, then screw it in from underneath. For timber under 1 meter, clamping makes the work much easier. This ensures a snug and clean joint. Now that the cap rail around the kitchen is installed, I move on to the breakfast bar. The countertop is made of ash wood joined by a furniture maker. At 30 millimeters thick, it has a refined look. Since it's quite thick, it needs a bracket in the middle for support, which I'll add later. Since the breakfast bar sits in the middle of the room, people's knees and feet are bound to bump into it. To prevent injuries, I round the edges generously. Kids could hit their heads or eyes on sharp edges, so this step is really important. That said, I don't like overly rounded designs, so I aim for a balance that feels just right. I round over the top edge corner of the countertop. A rounded corner is the safest and most practical option. On the underside, I ease the edges slightly without fully rounding them. The countertop will be embedded into the wall on the right side. On the left, I install a vertical panel for support, positioning it slightly inward. This ensures the panel fully supports the countertop. Now, I install the breakfast bar. I start by standing up the side panel. I'll screw the countertop from the top, while for the side panel, I screw it to the floor at an angle. To do that, I first drill counterbores for the wooden plugs, 2.5 centimeters from the floor. From there, I secure the panel at a 45-degree angle using a thin screw. I also use a thin drill bit. This method makes it easy to install the side panel. I apply glue firmly to one end to prevent cracks. Since this area gets sunlight, this step is essential. The other side will be finished with a urethane coating by the painter, so I don't apply glue there. It would interfere with the finish. The countertop spans 2,500 millimeters. Since it's too long to support itself without reinforcement, I add a bracket in the center for extra support. I made a similar bracket for the second floor last time, so I use leftover timber from that project. One piece of timber yields 2 brackets, perfect for this setup. I shape the bracket just like before, curving the bottom and adding a slight reverse curve at the tip. Even though the bracket is thin, proper installation makes it very sturdy. You might think brackets need to be thick to offer good support, but a well-secured thin bracket like this is strong enough for this project. I cut the curves in the bracket using a jigsaw. With hard wood, the jigsaw blade can drift off course, so I always finish by hand for precision. There's a saying, there's no tool better than the one you're born with, your hands. I'll make sure to hide each screw underneath the countertop with a wooden plug. Now, I install the bracket. I slightly trim the back corner at an obtuse angle. This small adjustment ensures that when the screws are tightened from the back, the front lifts gently into place. Next, I hide each counterbore with a wooden plug, my go-to technique. If the plugs are made from the same wood, they blend in, making it unnoticeable. There are two types of wooden plugs. Ones that blend in seamlessly and ones that stand out as a design feature. For this area, those that blend in are the better option. I made the counterbores in the side panel at a right angle so they can be plugged in as usual. For the top of the breakfast bar, a simple round plug would look too plain. Instead, I use wooden plugs rotated 45 degrees, essentially square plugs set in a diamond orientation. This small detail adds a handmade touch that stands out just a bit. Next, I work on the niche in the front wall. A niche is a partially recessed shelf-like space. It's designed to hold small items or decorations. Usually, only the bottom is made of wood, acting as a small shelf. I'm using the same hinoki cypress as the cap rail. I wonder what will be placed here. Finally, I finish the ends of the long and short cap rails. I use a hand plane to smooth them out and make a wide chamfer on the corners. Then I install the drywall and it's complete. I finished building the pony wall around the kitchen and the breakfast bar in front. Adding a breakfast bar to an otherwise open kitchen improves versatility and brings a touch of luxury. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.